제가
I have to be here talking to. I think it's been a while since last time they invited me. It's almost difficult, and like this gentleman here, things doesn't change for him. Things change a lot for me. Since last time I was here, I became literally homeless. So I'm literally a hobo because I spend 20 days a month on the plane, and every time I walk through the custom, doesn't matter which country they have me, they see me as family because I'm there every day. So that's kind of my life. So I'll share a little bit about what I do. I run this company, a proud Canadian company. A proud Canadian company with headquartered in Toronto. We have 7 offices in London, San Francisco, Shanghai, Brazil, Mexico. Better? Okay.
So the old guy.
No problem. Yes. So we have 7 offices, and we mostly work for client Fortune 500s. Usually, our size, the typical size of our clients are around $10 to $20 billion. So very big company. People have deep pockets. People are responsible for the livelihood of a lot of industries, small industries. And people, there are also these companies don't think that these are $20 billion companies. They think that these people are doing okay. Actually, sometimes, I know most of you are probably in small, medium businesses, they're actually very vulnerable, and that's why they came to us. We have, the last 2 years, we have created $500 million economic value for this company. We don't talk about the work we do generally just because we are the kind of secret services in innovation, in strategy. But I'll show you a little bit of stuff some of the secrets we do. We generally don't talk about it because companies don't talk about the things that we work with them on the most senior, on the board level. If we tell anyone, then we have to kill them usually. Not immediately, like a few days later. What kind of firm is that? We use, with a niche firm, we focus on applied design thinking and strategy. So with a strategy firm, with a very focus on innovation, whatever that means to anyone, it means different things for different people. That's kind of what we practice every day. We have a few hundred people focusing on one thing. It's about inventing industry for tomorrow. Most firms focus on yesterday. How do we compete today? How do we deal with our legacies yesterday? But for us, every one of our people fully focus on one thing, it's about tomorrow. So we are a company that working with company to create their future. And the companies work like a startup environment. We have clients coming to our office, spending a lot of time here. We have our team spending time in the offices all over the world, India, China, Germany, Sweden, everywhere. Silicon Valley, which I spend about 10 days a month there. Thinking about how to create the next billion-dollar business. So that's kind of what we do. So I'm going to share a little bit of you. We don't have a lot of time, because you need a lot of time for networking and Chinese food, I guess, coming. So I'm gonna give you like a few of the little things about secrets of. Sometimes you might think that, yeah, you know what, we kind of know it, but it's actually not quite true. If you go deeper, you realize that some what seem to be very simple, basic things are the ones that power up these sort of billion-dollar enterprise. So we have 8 of them. I'll give you 2 today. All 3. And next year, I'll come back, I'll give you the other 2. So we'll be able to finish 5. So I'll give you the first one. So I asked my friend there, help me to create this little video so that we can show people. You guys know who this guy is, right? He's the highest paid actor in the world today. Yeah, he's the highest paid actor in the world today. So what does it mean in terms of follow passion? I think a lot of people, like you start your business sometimes about an opportunity, sometimes it's purely about what you happen to run into, or sometimes it's about what you train to do. But you're going to ask yourself, like I said, kind of like the passion. It's not so much about waking up in the morning that some reason for you to go to work with. It's really about that's becoming a core or powering up any organization. You would say that, yeah, okay, you know what, that's what a big deal. Everyone's passionate about, but it's not so simple when you can actually expand it, because passion fuels confidence. You can say everyone come to, we sit on this pitch every month, and every entrepreneur comes and say, I've got this idea, I need 20 million, I need $30 million. Sometimes part of the reason is not really when we give them the money or we recommend our client to give them the money. It's not really about the idea, it's something about the confidence, because no one can be sure these things will work. Because no one can be sure. If someone is absolutely telling you, I can guarantee that work, it's not possible. Otherwise, not a new venture. So that passion shows about how you will sustain the difficulty ahead of them. And passion also radiates how much you care about the business, because knowing that you have to make multiple thousands of improvements over time. So to show that, you actually can radiate energy. And these seem to be very simple things, but these are even your billion-dollar enterprise lacking. And these are the things that make these companies from 10 billion to become 1 billion and become $500 million. So here's some advice for him. I caught him on a bad day when I have breakfast. So here, I want to give myself the freedom not to be projecting my whole life. I think when you're starting a small business, I'm assuming here most people are running, no one's running $10 billion business here, right? Okay. So I'm assuming all are kind of starting an enterprise, small, medium enterprise. It's important to think that sometimes people overthinking about like in the long run, 5 years, 10 years. In your case, and in many cases of many startups, whether you raise 10 million, 5 million, don't even think about the long run. Because there's nothing called the long run. I'll pull on my economist hat, I'll tell you in the long run, there's only one simple truth. In the long run, we all die. So why are you worrying about that in the long run? So in the short run, it's like, how do you make the next 12 months to make your business sustainable? That's more important, and make your business differentiated. And this guy, anybody know Tony here? You guys heard about him? Yeah. So he's a cool guy, and he doesn't know anything about shoes. I asked him about what you wear and like your Jimmy shoes, and he doesn't know anything about shoes. But he knows about one thing. It's about customer experience, customer service. And do you know how much Amazon wrote him a check for? $1 billion for his company. For what? It doesn't own a brand. It doesn't own anything. He basically sells shoes with his website. You think Amazon has a problem building a website? You think Amazon has a problem delivering logistics, supply chain shoes? And why is Amazon paying $1 billion for this guy? Because he's really passionate about the experience, and he instituted that into a system where if Amazon look at it, if I can take 10% of that, plug it into my $20 billion enterprise, that would equate to another $10 billion shareholder value. That's how they write the check. Not because that he has a website that sells shoes. So don't underestimate the power of these little things. And you think about this guy. I met him 6-7 years ago, first time, and he never talked about business. Every time I asked him about how do you want to explore a new format for coffee chain? Do you want to get into a restaurant? He said, Idris, I'm not interested in any of these things. All I'm interested is one thing, like best coffee. That's all. He doesn't care anything. He said, I said, do you want to optimize? Do you want to care about how do you expand here and there? No, I don't want all these things. I just want one thing. It's all about just coffee. And it's and I said, do you own any patent to protect whatever? No, nothing. Not a single patent this company has filed. Even though they've done a lot of things very innovative. Because for them, it's you can steal everything, steal what you need to steal. But you cannot steal the heart and soul of a company, which is the way we put it into a cup of coffee. So think about this if you're a small business. What is your equivalent of that people cannot steal away? Because you're not going to have enough money to compete with very big companies, which file large patents and do big campaigns and all those things. And then you look at this. Everybody know who she is? No? Oh, where do you live? So she was when I married, she was the CEO of Burberry. So it's a company I consult with. And now Apple hired her away last year. Apple paid her a little bit more money, just I think $73 million for the first year. A small salary. I think $30 million go to tax, so still some money. And Apple wants her to do one thing. Can you bring the passion of Apple back? into the whole experience. One job, one simple thing, right? And she took the job. And now she's thinking about how do we rethink the world of Apple retail. So just to let you know, the actual Apple retail business is actually larger than the Apple computer and iPhone business itself. And their store sales per square foot is the highest in the world, so you know the metric. Like, it used to be the highest is gas station because they sell the luxury stuff. And then Tiffany used to be the highest. They're 3 times higher than Tiffany's. But you wonder how, because you walk in there, the stuff you can buy anywhere, right? Anybody heard about Method? So it's a California-based company. So he's the founder. He built this company into $100 million company in a few years, just by doing one thing. He's just saying that the things that you use to wash the detergent, no chemical, friendly for you. That's one simple thing. Build a business, and he's very passionate about these things. So you need to understand, if you start thinking about that and fully embed in your business what you do, that's where you have a strategy. You can have a strategy, but without passion, it's not a real strategy. It's just a mechanic of going to business. So strategy needs to be based on purpose. Either you have a purpose to change the world, or something that you understand the unmet needs, what unmet needs you're catering for. You gotta have a needs, but people ask you, why are you in business? You just can't say, well, we provide this. Everybody provides this. The world has too many of many things to provide this. So if you can pass the test of the first question, why are you in business? Why the world needs another of your company? If you can answer that, you'll probably go back and spend some time on this, because you're not going to last very long, because everyone can open up another business. Right. So a business should be linked to an unmet needs. What is an unmet needs? Like, do we have unmet needs? Every day we have new unmet needs. It doesn't stop, right? You think about unmet needs. So this guy, 4 years ago, he called me, he's from Scandinavia, and he called me while I was in London. He said, Idris, I have an idea, can you help me? I said, well, I have a great idea. And he's like this 20-year-old guy thinking about sustainability. I said, you know what? I think we need to be sustainable. So when people die, you buy this sort of box, and it's very unsustainable. But I have an idea. I built this bookshelf, and when you're about to go to that world, turn the bookshelf into the box. Well, I think it's a very good idea. And he said to me, Idris, how much money can I make? I said, well, you have to do some math. Yeah, some money. It's not very difficult to do it. People love the bookshelves, right? It's like, but I said to him, there's no problem. But you have to think about some unmet needs. Right? You have a business model problem. Sometimes when people go, they don't really go. They kind of didn't die and come back. Right? You think you die, but you don't die. And what happened? So that's a problem. And number 2, and when you die, do you think you have time to crawl up and say, I'm going to finish my bookshelf before I die? No, because they don't tell you die, you die. So I tell him that his business has 2 problems. So how do you solve that problem? Number 1, you provide an app. All you do is one click. People come to your home and take your bookshelves and turn it into that box. $20. That's pretty good. And if people don't die, they call you again, you come back and put the box back and put it back in the shelf. Another $20. So the lifetime value of this box, you make more money in service than actually in the merchandise. There's a case study to show that when you think about your business, don't think about just the product you sell. Think about the business model. A lot of companies today don't even have assets. You think about the largest hotel company in the world, larger than the Hyatt, larger than Marriott, is which one? Airbnb. They don't own a single room. And the largest taxi in the world? Uber. Yeah, they don't even have one car. Actually, I ordered the lunch yesterday. It's pretty good. You guys try Uber lunch? They do have downtown, so only 3 choices. I ordered it. It's pretty good. So the second one is like, think about unmet needs, right? There are things that people need, people worry about, people scared. You think about every time you're in an airport, you think like, oh, this problem, smell, chemical, and you think there's some terrorist or whatever. It's a real unmet needs, but then do you want to carry a mask with you? People think you're crazy. So this product, designed by my friend, she's a teacher in the UK university, she came up with this idea. And then she tested for a year and a half. it's safe. So good for 2 people, and you must have it. And only 2 colors today, only black and red. And then they serve a customer service department. And you know what the most frequent question is? The people call the customer service and say, like, I have a problem with your product. So what is the problem? You think people will ask, does this product work? People didn't ask the problem. People believe this works because it's work is all tested. They asked, like, does size affect the quality of the filters? But they couldn't answer that question because we didn't test them. And then this one here, you know, like in Markham, there's a lot of high-tech companies, and you go to Korea, it's like the same thing. Now, when I walk into Samsung or client office, people work from 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock every day, like 6 days a month. It's crazy. You think, you know, you come back, you look at people here, like every day we're on holiday in Canada. You know, in that world, people work like that. It's crazy and tremendous pressure. And funny enough, I started working, advising the CEO about 4 years ago. And one day, I think it was 2 weeks before Christmas, I got a call to my secretary, and someone from Korea wanted to talk to me. So I picked up the phone and said, "Who's this?" And they said, "Yeah, they're calling from this Chairman office." I said, "Okay, well, you know, what can I do for you? I don't speak Korean." And they said, "We want you to help us with something." I said, "Okay, well, tell me what is it, but write me a brief. Give me a, you know." And they said, "Okay, we'll give you a brief." And then an hour later, a brief comes in, a document comes in, digital. I opened it. There's only one line in the document. We want to beat Apple. That's what they want. And they said, "Can you meet me next week?" So I'm on the plane next week with my team with 10 people in Korea, and we started working with that. So it's you know, I think unmet needs is important. You think about this. You know, in Markham, we have many technology companies. Guys are very lonely. They're very tired, and when they go home, they buy one of these. You think you can sell one of these things? Yeah, you will. You won't tell me. So it's about unmet needs. So about your business, think about what unmet needs you are serving. What solution you're providing, not just what you sell. Nobody cares what you sell. And particularly when you sell your messages, you state your business, you always say, what do you do? Well, I do financing, I do mortgage, I do electrical components, I do whatever. It doesn't matter what you do. People want to know, like, what are the unmet needs? What are the problems you're solving for me and my business? If you can't answer that, you're not ready to be in business. Right. So secret number 2. Here. Anybody understand this? It's very deep, right? It's a very deep person. So basically what it's saying here is, what I'm trying to make a point is, like, even though when you're starting a business, even though it's small, medium businesses, 5 people, 10, 20, 100 people, small business, you still have to aim bigger. Because if you start thinking that way, the company will behave very differently. If you start thinking small, you will always be small. And it never hurts, it doesn't cost anything to think big. And any business must have that aspiration, even in very day one when you go into business. You have to start thinking to shoot for the moon. And what it means is, like, you think about what you're doing to disrupt the industry. You don't do what other people are doing. You do, like, how do I disrupt? If you can figure that out, that means you're not ready for growing your business. So how do you look for disruption? You look for industry breakpoints. Every industry, if we're getting into the analysis, every industry you look at, there are always breakpoints, whether in the value chain or the ecosystem. The bigger the companies are, the more fragile they are. You just have to find the weakest link in the whole system of these large companies. And what you need to do is find that, you poke that, and then you find a place. And that's exactly what all these companies, the Ubers of the world, the Airbnb of the world is doing. So if you are aiming bigger, you got to look at the biggest company on earth and say, like, how do I poke a hole in this $10 billion enterprise. If you get close to that, you're ready for big time and you're ready for big investment. So how do you do that? You have to remember that your competitors, and I'm assuming all of you are competing to your big competitors. Your big competitors are the people that are 5,000 times bigger than you. These are the people who are very isolated from the market, from the world out there. And their job, and their CEO job, is to be responsible for their customers, right? That's their job. They want to make sure their customer is happy. They want to make sure their customer is buying what they are getting. But for you, you should not do the same thing because you're not going to do better than them. So for you to think about like, how do I do something without the legacies, without the burdens of they carry? The second one you think about is like, they will think about incremental innovation. No large company will jump into big innovation because it's too risky. If I have 10 million customers or 1 million customers, I'm not going to do anything to risk that. So you'll be acting very safe. And if one of us are in their shoes, we'll do the same thing. But if you are the startup, if you are the disruptor, you say, I don't need to do the same thing. I can easily find a market with unmet needs that I can serve them and grow them. And then somehow you go under the radar screen. They don't even know that you are doing that. That's what happened. And people wake up, they realize that company is like half the size of ours, even though that we've been around for 10, 20 years. And the third one is you need to understand how the big company thinks about the industry. Because every big companies have a paradigm of a view of the industry. And everyone is the same. So look at the banks, every bank look at the market the same, every credit card company, every insurance company. If you're a small provider, you have to think about how do I look at the world very differently in order for me to design my service and product differently. So you have to avoid being the same. It's very easy to be like, you know what, I do what they do, because you cannot do what they do. Even if you do what they do, you'll never be able to competitive because of your cost structures, because of your resource constraint. So, and when you start thinking that way, then a small business starts looking very attractive. And that's where you start thinking about, if you can put a story around in 5 minutes how you can disrupt an industry, then you're ready for Silicon Valley big time. Thank you. I think that's 20 minutes. We want.
All right.